That's the unfortunate part of it.
So, sometimes these opinions have no value at all. I was president of psychiatry, and I did not know more than 2 or 3 literatures. And this man talks about the entire Indian scene. And then he makes an exception in bracket, mentioning my name and Nirmala Varma's name. That's it. Somebody must have told him or something. And I felt it was so humiliating and wrong. These are the opinion makers. And the British publishers are also opinion makers. In the old days, literally men were opinion makers for other literatures. They may also make mistakes. But at least in my own profession, somebody made a mistake. And this publishing house has no business to do that. Given somebody so much use, this and put it in use.
I can sort of also pose a question to Mr. As in, are all the languages, the major languages of India, walking together equally confidently, equally strong?
Yes,
is there any chauvinism between the languages, between Hindi and Tamil or Indian, Bengali? And is there any rivalry, chauvinism, feeling of inferiority, superiority?
Well, I don't think so. And I have always had this problem with the use of the word regional, like Anandpurji. Is this working?
Yes.
You see, I mean, every single work of literature is both regional and global. And region, he said that in the Kannada work it was defined, particularly defined as a particular region was synonymous with a particular language. And it has a geographical location. But it cannot have a political location. And that's what usually, it is used for these days. When you say regional language, you usually mean non-English languages of India and sometimes also non-Hindi languages of India. Sometimes Hindi is used as a regional language, it is described as a regional language, and sometimes it is posed as if Hindi is in confrontation with the other languages of India. But this is not so. One thing that I want to really say here, one thing, would the backyard come to the front, please? Because there are a lot of seats vacant here. Most of the great works in other languages get very quickly translated into Hindi. In fact, you mentioned Tagore. Even before that, I would say, contemporary of it, Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay, he was translated so widely into every language. I mean, I read, when I was a child, I read each and every book of his. And when I got married, the entire Sharat Sahitya was presented to me as a gift, because I was going away to live in a place called Darien-on-Somme, where Sharat Chandra had written Grehda, one of his novels. Now, not a very good choice for a girl to be given Grehda, and she's just about to, start her married life. But anyway, the one redeeming feature of Darien-on-Somme was that Sharat Chandra had lived there. So, I mean, I'm not a Bengali, but for me, Sharat Chandra was a Hindi writer.
Actually, Telugu people. They thought he was a Telugu writer.
For a long time, they thought he was a Telugu writer. So he transcended that boundary. And primarily, literature is about transcending. You see, when you write, you transcend yourself. You transcend facts. Basically, you transcend facts. That's very important. In order to reach the truth, you must transcend the so-called visible reality. So you transcend reality, you transcend yourself, you transcend all that you know, and then you refabricate it, remake it. You transcend memory. You transcend your anubhav, your anubhuti. In English there is no word, no synonym for anubhuti. It is experiencing the experienced. So you transcend anubhuti, and then you fantasize it, and then you recreate it. So what is the importance of language or region? I think the importance is that it is part of your collective memory. It's part of your memory. What is a region? A region is which lives in your mind. That is your region. It is not Goa, or it is not Delhi, or it is not Uttar Pradesh. I may go all over India, I have lived all over India. But my collective memory is of a village in Uttar Pradesh. a small village in Uttar Pradesh where when I went back again as an adult, I was surprised to find that everything was so small. Because I remember it as of gigantic proportions. But that stays with you. You may come to a city, you may go to a foreign land, but that stays with you. But I would say one thing, I for a long time rejected Indian writing in English as something which was very superficially done. But recently I find that very good work is being written in English. The only problem, my problem is that they always have an eye on the market abroad. And I think my most a moment which really filled me with great frustration was when a book of mine was translated into English and an American professor told me that the translator should have added explanatory notes because there's so much about India we do not understand. So I told her there's so much about America we do not understand, so much about Europe we do not understand. Nobody ever thinks of adding explanatory notes, to make it acceptable to us. So this is the kind of thing that you are somehow deemed inferior. When the Western world reads an Indian writer, for them he is a regional writer. And what they read is not an individual writer, but a region. They're reading a region. You are a jati. When they write, they are individuals. When you write, you are a jati. So they're reading you as a jati. And as soon as you say regional writing, I think you're reducing a writer to a jati. And that is, I think, very unfortunate for creativity.
Actually, once I said in Chicago, we are read for anthropological.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I said I will read American writers also for anthropological reasons in India to find out the male-female behavior in American married life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Why not?
Why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Let's
So,
turn it on
this
its head.
anthropology is itself a discipline
Yes,
created out of this higher and lower.
Sure.
yes.
And I was vice chancellor in the university, when they had an anthropology department. I would ask anyone who came, can you go to America and make an anthropological study of the American male? No, then there is no discipline like anthropology. If it can't be applied to
It
everyone.
has to be universal.
It has to be universal and actually
But
American.
it is not so. This is because of the world situation.
Yes. Because because of the inequality, in the world. That's why there are regions and there are nations. When the nations say that established, developed nations say, don't even talk about nationhood. They can say that. But unless you are a nation, you cannot talk about transcending the nation. Till we became a nation, till we got rid of the British, we could not talk of transcending the nation because there was no nation.
Actually, even in Hindi, the best of Hindi writing comes from where Hindi is a regional language of a province. It has a certain kind of solidity of specification,
Yes.
Whereas
But Hindi,
in a general kind of use of language, there is no what we call solidity of specification. It's not specific. For instance, the Hindi cinema, the best of them like Jaramawa, all in a
the old films like Jogam and all those films were very particular about the language they used. Because language is not just a conglomeration of words for a writer or for an artist. Literature is cursed in one way, that we have no other instrument. We use the same words which are used by a butcher, by a cobbler, for working in the kitchen. We have no other words. And we not only have to use those words, we have to use it in the same way. Yet we impute different meanings. We give it a new meaning. Every word, when you juxtapose the words, it has a new meaning. So there is a built-in failure in literature, which is not there in other arts, because you have definite instruments to use. And that built-in failure is what makes literature doubly relevant, because that is how it transcends time and region and nation. When you talk about this regional languages and English, just because English is spoken by a small number of people in all the states of of India and various parts of the world, it does not make it a universally same kind of language, because there's a Canadian English, there's an Australian English, there's a Malayali English, there's a Kannada English, there's a Punjabi English. So there are different types of English spoken, and the same thing is about Hindi. There are different types of Hindi spoken. There is a Mumbaiya Hindi, there would be Bengaluru Hindi.
That is true of all India.
So basically, I don't think there is any rivalry between the languages of India. It is something that has been created to give it spice.
I would like to move on to a particular episode one night at Mridula Garg's place where she writes, I read about it, where two policemen knocked on her door. She had just published Chittal Cobra, and they came in and they said, she was all alarmed, and they said, we want a witness. She said, why do you want a witness? We want to arrest you. So you couldn't arrest a lady unless you had a witness and all that. That was because there was someone had filed a suit case on for 3 pages in that novel, which were considered as obscene, and that dragged on for 2 years. The books were stopped from circulation, from distribution, and she had to really struggle on. This was, I think, around 20 years back.
30 years.
30 years back. I know that Dr. Anand Murthy also, after he published Samskara, there was a lot of hostile feedback from people. So are we free to write today? In the sense, last night Sudhir Chakraborty was saying, our books are not banned, we can write positively. So many of us are writing books, we are not banned. Some of us are writing to get banned, but they are not banning us. So India has moved on, he said. But there was also the case of Rohinton Mystery, book taken off the list. So what do you think? Are we free to write today in regional literature?
They say that in Russia, literature became very important because it could be banned.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
But when you take everything for granted, nobody bothers. In India, literature matters. And so back to nobody should ban because it matters and people take it to heart what they read. And I think our writers in every language have been much more important than our politicians in influencing the young people.
But are they still so?
Yes, they are still not as completely gone as there is. It's an influential thing.
If I may just interrupt you here. I was reading again this, referred to yesterday, Vargas Llosa's speech, acceptance speech of Nobel. And there he says that about France, after Franco's dictatorship ended, we thought in democratic Spain, culture would be the principal protagonist. That culture would bring about change, and perhaps after independence, writers all over must have thought that now culture and good sense will bring about change, and not only the politicians and the bureaucrats, but the writers, the intellectuals, the artists, they would bring about the change in the new India. So, did that happen in that sense?
Not entirely, but it is a possibility for Indian languages. You know, as a matter of fact, the lower caste, people at the backyard, get educated in these languages. And so, the number is larger than what it was, say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Maybe it is not a problem with Konkani, but with the other Indian languages, the vast illiterate masses, they get educated and they bring a new consciousness. You know, and so writing becomes different. So, you know, there's a lot of hope.
See, we have always been bemoaning the fact that there are not enough readers and that people are shifting to reading in English. I don't know how much of literature they read in English. Mostly it's pulp fiction which they read. But in the other languages other than English, what Anand Murthy said, there's such a lot of new people getting educated, you know, the new literates, and they like to read in their own language. But now they're introducing English in primary schools, and you know, now you find that even the lowest middle class person wants his child to learn English because they feel that that's how he'll get a better livelihood. So
also true.
That is a threat, and you know, after all, language, you cannot force language down anybody's throat. You learn language for 2 reasons. One is that it will earn your livelihood, and the other is because you're emotionally attached to it. You can't leave it. It's part of your persona, part of your whole personality, part of you, part of your life.